Comichalson word for the river is the Statlow, and we come from the Statlow village, from the river village is where our people lived, and at the mouth of the Nooksack River there were many homes in the village down there on both sides of the river. On the east side of the river there might have been 30 or more homes, and on the west side there might have been 10 to 15 on the west side of the river. I was born in 1944, and there were people that lived down there many years before I got there. It used to flood so much. There was so much floods down there that when we went to school, we were teased by the non-Indian people that we were just like river rats. Okay, to kind of shame us a little bit, of who we were. We were river rats, and being as who we were, and then born and raised by the river, and we had wood stoves, and we had smokehouses for our fish, and we had smokehouse. We had all of these things. We smelled different than they did, so we were not looked at too highly because we smelled different. And so they called us river rats. So through the course of time, we as a group of people decided that we were proud of where we come from. We are proud to say we are river rats. That's who we are. We come from the river. We're river rats. It's a good thing. That's where we come from. We're river rats. We turned it around, and we are proud to say that that's where we come from, the village. We come from the Statlow. We come from the Statlow village. So we've made it a proud thing. It's nothing to be ashamed of anymore to come from the fishing village down there.
My name is Beverly Keiki, and moving down the river was quite an adventure. We had lots of things to do. We never knew the word board, or we never knew what having nothing to do meant. There was always something to do, and people were all family. You want to talk about the flooding part of living down there? That was quite an adventure, but parents didn't seem to be afraid, and we didn't seem to be afraid. We were okay. It was kind of just a way of life. And then the water would come up, and our windowsills were maybe 2 or 3 feet off the ground, and the water would come clear to the windowsills, and then go down. To leave a vast mud stain all around our house, with mud inside of our house. And here come the Red Cross and the fire department. The fire department would come in, and they would hose down our houses. Get their fire hose and hose down our houses, and then Red Cross would come in the next day and plop down the linoleum, and we'd just start living again.
Our parents, when they grew up on the village, down by the river, in the fishing village, there were so many times when they had to gather their families up and move them to higher ground. And life became a lot like that river many times, not just for us personally, but for the community, where we had to recognize the overwhelming sense of being overtaken by things that were out of our control. And so our parents and our grandparents and our aunts and uncles, they watched for opportunities, and they took those opportunities to move us as a community to higher ground. And so all of us benefit from that experience, that they were resilient in that moment of that flood, dealing with it, taking life as it came, taking the water and the seasons of that river as it came, and being able to manage in the situation that was challenging, but always looking for opportunity to move us to a safer, drier place. And that figurative higher ground is now what we all have in the college, in all of the education opportunities that the community has, and the many things we have in our community right now that we all enjoy. You know, that came from the families that lived in that village and their experiences of hardship, and learning to know when to stay, when to take advantage of what the river offered, but also when to respect it and move and go somewhere to a higher ground.
Siam, this challenge is Siam. I've been around since 1973 for the department. And we started to find out that we're doing things without keeping our community involved. And as you all know, that we're oral people. And our backbone is our salmon. And so as we were going through this process, we turned around and found out that we were missing the most important part, and that was our younger generations. And so they put a program together realizing that the kids are, as we say, our pride and joy and going to be our potential leaders in the future. With this program, what they're going to understand is hands-on, how everything is connected from the time that the trees are planted until the time that the fish is cooked, until the bones just going back into the water. And it's all going to be done through our culture way.
It's important, at least how, like G.I. was talking, that you got to know where you come from in order to know where you're going. And there's nobody better than, in my eyes, than Gordy and his other brother that's no longer with us, that taught me and give me some hindsight every time that we were out there doing what we're doing. So that's why I think it's very important to sit and have your ears open to Gordy and listen to his story about all the things that he lived through. This is what you're going to live through at a different time.
I'm Gordon Wilson. My Indian name is Alumulek, and I lived through the old, called it Stallville, is that right? Where we was brought up and raised along the riverbank, the fishing village, and all the stuff that we went through when we were coming up, growing up. I started fishing at an early age, about 13 years old, something like that. And we never had motors. We had used sails and rode up and down the river.
We planted these trees about maybe 5-6 years ago, and as you can see, we got beaver in here too, so they like to eat trees.
Ears to hear,
a lot of different
nose to
equipment,
smell, eyes to see. What else?
Mouth to taste.
Mouth to taste. And then there's something else.
So this
Fingers to touch, to feel, right? Yeah.
and to turn it
And
on.
of course, maybe there's a sixth sense. No, maybe not a sixth sense. I don't know that movie. All right, I'm going to show you guys something. So you guys hold on to your water. In here, I've got 3 samples.
Are called reds, R-E-D-D. No, not R-E-D like the color, but R-E-D-D is the name of a salmon nest. And so the nests get buried by the sediment, and the eggs can't breathe. The eggs still need to get oxygen, have water flowing through, right? And then it kills the eggs. And it can also cover up the suitable spawning gravel, so they use certain size stones to be able to make their nests. And then it also affects the baby fish, right? You guys remember raising those baby fish and letting the coho go last year?
People have to understand that how important fish is to us. As he always says, it's the most important thing is the air that we breathe. If it wasn't for the fish, there would be no Lummi people. If it wasn't for the fish, we would have no clean water, no clams, no, as the people say, if the tide is out, the table's set. Without the fish, we wouldn't have clean water. So that's just an example of how the things that we have to deal with day-to-day lives, making sure that there's something for our next generations to harvest. That's what we're all about here. It's our shellangin. And I'm just glad and thankful to the people that passed it on to us. And it's our responsibility to make sure we keep it alive and keep doing what we're doing with the thanks of all the people that participated, from the youngest to the oldest.